for the pledge of allegiance and remember. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to be here today. We ask for your blessing as we collectively think, as we do the work of Adams County. We just ask that you be with us in everything that we do. In your name, amen.
My radio says 7:19 when I came in. I forgot to turn it up.
Late, actually, but. Sorry about that.
You don't go first anyway.
Should have all received copies. Most of you should have. My computer was hacked. I had 7 viruses and I could not get into it. Have the approval of the minutes. Any additions, corrections?
Make motion to approve. Second.
John and Bob. Moved and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Sarah? You're up.
Good morning. So I am here to get your guys' approval for the waste tire grant that I applied for. The Adams County Health Department is going to be supposed to be working alongside with the solid waste district to provide amnesty days to the county. I had applied for the full $10,000 and we had gotten it back a couple weeks ago that we are a potential approved candidate pending all of the documentation gets turned in correctly. So we would just want to do this to really just clean up all of the waste in the community and have people bring them in because obviously it costs money to dispose of them. So we provide the amnesty days to help with the mosquito control in the community.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Front end, John. Approved.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Sarah, when do I start? You want to start doing that?
As soon as everything gets turned in, they give me 365 days afterwards. So it's just, they don't really have they don't have a set period yet. It's just everything has to get turned in.
If I was driving through the county, we know tires are gone, we know your work.
Well, we'll put it out. We'll definitely have advertising for the days for sure.
Sarah?
Thanks for doing that.
Yes,
I know the health department receives numerous grants. Can you, in round numbers, tell us exactly? Do you know how much money we get by way of grants for health department?
I don't know that.
That would be more
This is
Carla.
the only grant that I've ever applied for the health department.
Okay.
Dennis needs to sign it.
Okay.
He's already signed my copy, so when he signs that, we can get it right back to you, but I'll have to sign it also. I wonder if this is going to, we'll see. Stupid computer sprays. I didn't catch your viruses.
I hope not. No. Good say. Thanks for your work.
Thank you.
Just
And then for no
12, yes.
Those two were theirs.
There's your copy.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You have anything, Julie Mary?
Good morning. The only thing I have is the official certification of appointment for Barry Shearer to be.
I have one too. Do you want to do two of them? Or do you want to do one to take back? Well,
No,
you just need to do one.
yeah,
And
just
then we'll have Barry come in the office to sign, and we'll keep it, scan it, send it to you too.
Do we just need to sign that? What's the, I forget.
Just need-
Need to approve
Just
the
need to
appointment of,
officially
health board?
approve it. I brought it up at the last meeting. We did coordinate with commissioners, and so he's going to be the council appointee rather than the commissioner's appointee
For the health board, right?
for the health board, correct?
and the reason that all got mixed up is Health Indiana First, or Health First Indiana. They changed up the way the health board is comprised. Now the cities have to, I think, select 3 names or something that fit certain criteria, and then it comes, it's a little more complicated, but not a bad thing. It gives more oversight at a local and county level, so.
Barry Shear.
He's the county.
He's the county council.
He's
appointee.
official.
Yes.
Is that?
I don't think we have a motion on it.
2.
2 years. Who do we have? Very sure.
Barry Shear,
Barry Shear.
health, to the health board. Yeah.
Just need a motion and a second and a vote.
We have a nomination to appoint Barry Chair to the Health Board. See a motion?
We did that.
So Bob? Rex?
Second.
Rex
Bob
and
and
John, or Bob and John? Yeah.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. That's all I had today.
Oh, and it takes it back to me, I do believe. Hey, my computer might not be ready to go by the time the meeting's over. Sounds froze. I had to restart it.
You got hacked also.
I hope not.
Very sure.
Barry?
Very sure.
I think we got that. Yeah, we've got the signature Lenny on that. I'll take it upstairs. Now we're ready for transfer and, well, auditor report.
You want, let's go in the auditor report.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
I'm ready. Think I'm ready. I had that ordinance looked up and the computer froze. Now I gotta read it. There you go.
Yeah.
We have, you should have received this via email. We have one transfer for the election board, increasing office supplies by 500 and decreasing printing by the same amount.
Motion to approve. Second.
Fred and Rex. Okay. Check my computer here. Okay. Transfer. Sign down there and then I'll send it around. The only other, let me get my bearings straight here. Oh, the bearings straight. See what I did there? Okay, this, council's already aware of it because I had sent information, a lot of information to all of you all. The council does not meet again before tax bills go out. And the forms that I sent, I have a copy for each of you guys. Radio's not here, but we already know that farmland has been assessed by the state at $400 more an acre. That means their property taxes are going to be really high. And we kind of wanted a little forewarning out there that that is taking place. The state also did away with the mortgage exemption. That did not help certain people. They've actually, well, they've proven Darren Bates correct. Be pessimistic about the state. He said that many times when he was here. And he will be here again for a work session at 2 p.m. on Friday, April 12th. And he will be able to shed more light than I ever can on all this stuff. But we felt
What time is that on?
April 12th at 2. Friday, April 12th at 2 o'clock. But I wanted to get it out there in the public that all counties in Indiana are going to feel this same thing, because that $400 an acre assessment is done. It's like an average over 6 years that Purdue University is hired by the state to do. It involves a lot of formulas that is convoluted, but the fact of the matter is, we know agricultural land is going up $400 per acre assessment. Next year, we know already that farmland is going to be $380 more per acre
The entire state.
for the entire state. This is nothing that the county did. This is the entire state. On top of that, the state, as you all know, the state also pretty much forced counties to change property tax relief allocation, because they did away with a bunch of counties had it all as 100%, which pretty much covered the blanket thing. Well, state did away with that. Everybody was forced to change it in certain ways. Adams County was not alone in that. And we'll be discussing that also on the 12th to get direction from council on, do we need to look at reallocating, and Darren will know the answers or show us on the screen in real time what it looks like to do this, what it looks like to do that. But the main thing is, what I sent you and what I'm giving to the press is simply to say that ultimately the state is causing this all over the state. So that's really all I had to say. Since we won't meet again as a council until after tax bills go out. This will help, and I collaborated with Treasurer Dyer, I collaborated with Assessor Beery on this. Quite frankly, when these folks see their increased taxes, we're the three offices they're going to come to and probably not be happy. So this information I'm giving to the press is to at least allow people that read the paper to see what the cause was and what's going on, and expect it again next year. Make sense?
I might add one thing to that. The state does all this stuff that we then have to react to. And to my understanding is we really only have one lever. The only lever that we can pull is what is the actual rate. But even that is so complex and complicated that it's very difficult for us to make the impact we want with that. So, sorry, what I was saying is the state does all these changes. The only lever we as council really have at this point is to change the actual tax rate. You know, the assessor's office does this assessment. The state does all these calculations. The only thing we can do is the tax rate. Even that, they've made it very difficult for us. And so statewide, I don't know, almost every municipality, to my understanding, basically goes to the state every year and says, give us the maximum we're allowed to take. You figure out the math to tell us what that rate is. Everyone does that. We're not the only one. Everyone does that. So the question is, at some point, are we willing to really dive into the weeds? And it will not be a small effort. I understand that. But are we willing to really dive in hard? And it may take a collaboration with the other municipalities, you know, because if we do it and they don't, you know, if City of Burns, City of Decatur, if they don't lower the rate at the same time that we do, people won't actually see a difference because their tax cap will be there. The money will just go to them instead of us. So it's not an easy solve, but really that's the only solution we have. And I think at some point we want to dive into it. It's not going to be easy, but I think we should.
It's just a very convoluted system that is.
A lot of formulas that
You touch one thing and 6 things get affected.
Yeah, which is why, I
And so
mean,
it's-
not blaming anybody, that's why statewide, all the municipalities basically just kind of threw their hands up and said, this is too complicated to figure out,
Well,
so
and
we would be a leader if we do that, like,
You know, we're-
we would be the first ones to really do that.
like you're saying, we're more of just a reactionary force to the state. And then we can make whatever rate we want, but then it has to be accepted by the DGLF. They can say, no, this is a
But
board
let-
decision and it's gonna run you out of money. So there's
Yeah, and understand
a
though,
lot of barricades.
if you don't take your levy, it'll still get collected. And it'll get redistributed elsewhere.
By the
that-
cities and.
Well, and that's
That's
why
what-
I was
that's
saying,
what-
it is super complicated, but it's the only lever we have, so at some point, I think it's incumbent on us to figure it out. And I think you're right, because what you're talking about is if we're over the cap already, and we lower our rate, but Decatur, schools, everybody else doesn't, then they'll fill in the difference, right?
They will get our money.
So that's why I'm saying we may have to coordinate and get with everybody in Adams County and say, hey, can we all agree that we need to collectively do this together so that there's no winners and losers here? And that's not going to be easy. And I'm agreeing that we would probably be one of the only counties in the state to do that. But that's the only tool we have. So at some point, people are really having problems with property taxes. At some point, I think it's incumbent on us to try. And it is not going to be easy. I'm not assigning any blame because it is complicated. And every other county does the same thing that we're doing. So we would be the one of the first doing it. And I understand that, but I think we can.
And the max levy, the growth quotient that Corey's referring to, that is a calculation that the state does. Somehow also looking at averages, just like they do with the agricultural land. And I don't know how they necessarily reach it, but they will tell every county out there, okay, we've done our calculations, we've used our formulas, we've done all this. We say that based on everything going on, we're giving you a 5% growth quotient. That's the amount on average the
For
counties are going to
example,
get.
that
For
number
example.
changes every year.
It changes, yeah.
Well, they get that. It's a combination of income growth and property value minus agricultural land. Do you know why they,
Agricultural income, yeah. So basically.
you know why the state did that though? They didn't give it.
Yeah, so back when they did the property tax caps, the constitutional caps, they basically said, okay, let's take however much your wages in your county, take out your farmers.
No, I was talking about, why did the state do the,
Growth quotient?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. They put this in place. They said, hey, however fast,
the farmland, the increase to the $400, $300?
oh, you're switching gears. Yeah, I don't know why they changed that.
That is, I think I still have.
But this explain that on this thing you sent here?
Yes, yes. And if you guys have questions, let me know. Don, did you get this that I sent out? This is what I emailed out to everybody.
Just so you know too, I've asked about
I know.
an overall formula for property
Oh,
tax
yeah.
calculations, and they don't know it at the state level. We don't do them here. It gets done at the state.
Yeah. We asked the DLGF rep, if we change the tax rate, what happens? And they said, we can't even tell you.
They don't know.
No, they
So
don't
if
know.
you ask anybody at the state, they would say, don't blame us. Local councils set the tax rate. But we can't figure out how the heck it works.
They
And they
make
don't
it,
know.
they do that on purpose in my estimation. And my thought would be, they probably do that to the agricultural land. And boy, I don't want to get political, but the legislature, the ones running know that there are more people that own homes that vote that have farmland. It's a voting block. So I think that's part of the reason.
Keep the homes down and raise the farmland up.
Well-
Please more people.
Yeah, because your homestead is where you've got, everybody has a homestead. But not everybody has land, farmland or something else beside a homestead. So they're kind of catering to the homestead. Which, we all have houses, you can appreciate, but there's a lot more property out there than that.
Yeah, I guess it increases my home, Corey's home, probably several people's homes are increasing in value just due to the housing market. Farmland, by being assessed higher, obviously that's going to be valued higher. And they base it on all these things, cash rent, what's it selling for per acre across the state, all these things. Their value goes up, which could help their borrowing power, but it's really not going to help them on resale unless they plan on selling their acreage. But again,
Well, gains like that are never realized until you sell. I mean, it's that.
No.
Just like our property values, our houses going up. I mean,
they're just
it's
guessing.
great in a sense, except it does raise your taxes and you don't realize it until you sell it.
So anyway, I just wanted the press to know that since tax bills will go out before council meets again. And obviously, if people talk to you or the commissioners or anybody else, hey, what is it? You have the answer. I emailed you those forms from the state and so forth. And the next meeting, immediately following the meeting, we're having a work session for budget discussions. And then that Friday on the 12th, we'll have the meeting on with Darren Bates and have it up on the screen and do all that stuff. So I just wanted to say it today since we're not going to be meeting again before that. You guys have,
You can tell me how many acres of farmland we have in the county?
Oh,
what
good
that
Lord.
total might be?
not right off the top of my head, but we can get that information.
I have no idea.
Ed, would that be something that you can help me with, or do I have to look at?
No, I can figure it.
We can figure out about how many,
Not off the top of my head,
I don't know it off the top of my head either, but
big number.
we can try to get that though. So,
I get a book every year of statistics, and that's always a year behind.
I'm pretty good.
So it
Yeah, you're
it has all the statistics specific for Adams County in there.
there you go,
I
Eric.
will
See about-
copy that piece of paper and I'll send that to you and Tony.
Yeah, probably done.
Yeah,
I'll send you- if
I'll
you send it to
copy
us, I'll
that
get it to
paper and I will send it to Ed and Tony and they'll make sure you get it.
Okay.
Very good.
All right, what's next?
So that is all that I have.
Do we need to do anything on the sheriff's solar situation? This is the last time
Oh,
we meet on them.
Oh, I was looking up that ordinance on my computer.
It's 25-3, or 2015-3.
It's right where I was at.
Covering EMA. What's this about?
In case there's an emergency during the eclipse.
Yeah, in preparation for the eclipse, if there would be some unknown expense that comes up for who knows what. Having a funding source already approved that we can handle it on a Sunday night or something like that. So I was talking to Corey, is there something like that, or can I ask you guys for permission to spend up to so much money? And they all said, under this ordinance through the EMA, there's $100,000 that is already pre-authorized to be used in an emergency. Now, my question is, under this ordinance that has definitions of what emergencies are, and the last one is any public calamity requiring emergency action. Would that fall under that? I think it
I can't
could.
get into it because Bree's got it.
Because it's gonna be, and there's another one under 27 riot, depending what happens, if something happens. I think we could make it work under that. We have no intelligence, anything bad. I'm just trying to cover all of our bases with EMA to where if something happens, if Barb would call whoever you appoint, or it doesn't need to, or the commissioner is saying, hey, this is what we got, it's gonna cost us $8,200 to fix this, am I good? And they say yes, and we're good. That's kind of what I'm after.
Julia, would it make sense for us to just say, make a motion today to say under 2015-3, whatever the definition section is, just say, today we vote to approve that the day of the solar eclipse is one of those definitions, so then.
It could be. I think that, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't have the actual ordinance in front of me, but it's my understanding that an emergency would actually have to be defined and declared by the commissioners. So upon declaration of an emergency in the county, based upon a concern you have or anything else that goes on in the county, at that time, yes, it would automatically kick in.
You don't think we need
I don't think we
to
passed
ask?
anything.
No,
That's what it said.
no,
He gets
that will
commissioners,
cover
he's
it.
good.
As long as the commissioners declare an emergency,
But is that something that can be done without being in a public meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, the commissioners don't have to do that. They can
They can
declare
just-
their.
If I call
right.
them with what, they say, yes,
Yes.
this is an emergency under 30, calamity requiring.
Right, just two of them just meet and say, this is an
Okay.
emergency. They issue the order, Mark gets it out there, and you're good.
Now, can that verbally give me okay, and then we do the paperwork on?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Because this is, I'm all worried about time.
no. You don't need the documentation. The very definition of an emergency is you don't have time to do
Gotcha.
that.
Okay, perfect. Well, then I guess
I'm sorry.
that's easy. If that's all right with you guys.
Well, for example, when we declare snow emergency, it's a combination of the EMA director, the sheriff, and myself.
Mhm.
So I would assume that any other emergency might meet those same.
Well, this is definitely going to be coming from the EMA because this is their ordinance. So it's not really going to be coming from me. This will be coming from Barb, I would guess, to you as a request, obviously with my input, that's something's going on.
So if we declare an emergency, does that constitute a release of funds, or does that constitute?
Either one, actually. You would have to go through the normal procedures for getting funds through the council. However, you can incur whatever expenses you need to at that time. And for emergency purposes, the auditor would be authorized to make that expenditure.
So if he has, for example, if we declare an emergency on April 8th, and if he has to contract additional help,
Mhm.
he may not have to pay him that.
Correct.
He may not have to pay him that week. But if it falls under that declaration, then it will be.
Right. Basically, that just covers whatever expense it is, and it allows the council to say, yes, you can get those funds when they meet again.
And I'm assuming also to where if this would fall into something, because we're going to be under instant command and things like that at this point already, if we can get reimbursed to the county from the state, then
Mhm.
that money would just go back to this fund if we would
Right.
end up getting reimbursement?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I think that's one reason he
To see if there's that chance of getting reimbursement back from the state.
Mhm.
So I guess then I don't think I need to be in front of you. I need to go in front of them next Tuesday to get this publicly worked out, or is it just that this is here, so I
No,
don't?
that's fine. That does it.
Okay.
Because I think basically we've pre-approved 100,000 way
Yep.
back
Okay.
when, under these conditions.
Does he even need to go to commissioners? I
No,
mean, it's already,
no, right.
it's,
Well, I have to
long
go,
as-
no, I just have to call them if we need to declare emergency.
oh, I thought you meant having a
No.
meeting.
No, I don't have to, I don't think.
No further approval is required at this point. As long as there's a situation constituting an emergency as declared by the commissioners, it's covered.
Perfect.
Keep your phones with you. I don't want to hear no solar blackout issues.
I don't want to be reimbursed hotels down in Fort Lauderdale.
I'm at the call mayor. Okay, well, again, thank you. That just, we understand what's going on that way. If something happens, again, don't plan on it, but I just want to have ducks in a row in case something does. So
What-
thank you.
what-
You're good.
What are
Thanks,
they
Dan.
anticipating some of the issues to be?
Honestly, I don't know. Other than the true number of people, they're calling, we could have anywhere from 35 to 40,000 extra people in the county that day.
Just to watch the eclipse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Not yet.
Hotels are booked up everywhere.
Sorry?
Hotels are booked up everywhere.
Correct. And worst nightmare would be if southern Indiana is cloudy and stormy and for some reason we're not, all those people are gonna come north. So that's, like I said, I don't really know what to expect. Like I said, EMA, ourselves, the other emergency responses, we're having our meetings, we're making our plans, and this was just something, in case something would come up and I'd have to, Barb and I would have to have funds to do something. I just want to make sure for timeliness that it's set in order.
Nope, you're good.
You're good to go.
But again, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
You could have saved a few minutes.
Anything else to agree?
What's the eclipse?
Early to bed, early meeting, early to rise. I think we're done.
Great.
Unless nobody wants to adjourn.
Actually, I'll give an IT update real quick.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've actually missed a couple meetings here lately with Mike, but I do have a quick IT update. So we mentioned last time about the changing over to the .gov stuff, and so Mike is in the process of changing the email over to that. So there's a little bit of work involved with that, obviously, and he also had to take a security survey for Homeland Security. That was about a 16-hour survey. So I'm not sure what that, I think it just kind of tells them where we stand, essentially. I think that's something that other entities probably everywhere had to fill out.
That's for our insurance.
Potentially, but he said it was a Homeland Security thing.
Yeah, be able to have us covered by whatever insurance
Okay.
that we have to meet the requirements of Homeland Safety.
It's also going to .gov, right, Fred?
Yes.
That's part of it.
Yeah. Also setting up structure for Adams County on the whole and the entities within it and how all those interfaces will work and how that will also work with Homeland Security. And then, matter of fact, I'm going to get with them soon on this part as well as, working on the relationship and the structure of that with the county and its entities and what it looks like going forward about stuff that we've already talked about previously. You know, there's work that goes into that to determine all that. And so he's got that on his plate too. So that's about it.
Commissioners got anything? Just real quickly,
No such thing.
one of the things that we've done in December was hire a new highway engineer, and we worked out a sharing agreement for a 90-day agreement with Wells County for him to continue to help them. I had a meeting with Jeff Stringer and Nate Ruchslaw yesterday. They were very interested in continuing this agreement even through the end of 2025. They have been having interviews, trying to hire their own engineer, and they have not been successful to this point. So they are going to propose an interlocal agreement with a sharing agreement to go on longer anyway. So I think unofficially, I guess, you know, the three of us are wanting to cooperate with that. So that's going to involve negotiations on any kind of change in salary, negotiations on their reimbursement to Adams County. And so I guess if it's okay, I'd like to have some of that discussion in a small group, and I'd ask Bob to participate with myself and maybe Shannon and one of our attorneys. So, and so if that's okay, but it's kind of for information only, but at this point, but at some point, if there's any change in salary or reimbursement, I'll probably be coming back to council.
How would you adjust that? By way of time allocated, by way of each entity?
There's a whole, that's part of the process. So his time allotment, right now, they're looking at maybe 1 day a week helping them. So
we don't need a full-time engineer.
he would be a 0.9 over here or working 9 days out of 10. And so we're just kind of trying to work out the details of what that looks like, because if we did that, they would get the state stipend and we would also get the state stipend. So, you know, it could be a real
That's 1 day a week, could be 8.
Well,
helpful
two-
way for them, plus
2 days, 2 out of 10. Is it 1 day a week?
1 day out of 10.
So he'd be there 1 day every other week then.
Okay.
So that, and those are things that are all kind of in flux right now. And that's where I'm asking to get together in a small group setting with Bob and myself and Shannon and one of our attorneys.
How soon do you want to have that meeting?
As soon as possible. Because they're kind of one to present this to their council in Wells County. So
You'd be the same.
So I'm gonna try and set
this
this
can't be on that.
Now, that's kind of the advantage of doing it in a small group setting, is we can have that discussion. Even a little bit
By him.
shorter.
Would it be be a good idea to add it to the agenda for the work session on the 9th or no?
Could.
We do have a work session. Council has a work session on the 9th. I don't know how
think
you
it's worth
feel about
talking about.
adding that to the agenda.
On what date?
The 9th? After
Right after the council meeting,
after the council meeting.
Oh, okay, sure.
because that's the budget discussion.
Hopefully, we'll move this. There's actually a couple aspects to this. One is the interlocal agreement between Adams and Wells, and what that looks like. And then the other one is if there's to be any adjustments or changes in compensation.
Is he spending any time with them now?
Yeah. We have a
Yeah,
3-month
yeah,
agreement.
we've got
You guys
a
approved
90-day
that.
agreement, January, February, and March to share him. And so, so far that's been real beneficial to them. Part of it, we realized that we hired him away from Wells County. And so we want to kind of continue to be a good neighbor and try to help things work out. So anyway, just kind of a heads up, we'll probably be coming back to you soon. And if you want to put us on the agenda for that work session, I think that'd be fine.
I believe that their attorney was working on a draft
Yeah.
of an
Yeah.
interlocal agreement, so I'll have that
So,
reviewed
so
before
I
the
don't
meeting.
know if you'll just send that to
Mhm.
Mark or whether
Right.
you'll see that, I'm not sure. But, so.
Okay.
Hey Stan, you said about roads, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just
I'm sorry.
He approved his day, but we didn't.
And because he sits on the waiver
Oh,
review
yes.
committee, and so if we're ended up in some negotiations on adjustments there, I'd asked him to sit in. So if that's all right, we'll move ahead with that.
Not saying when.
Mr. Dyer?
I just wanted to let the council know as a group that taxes and tax statements will be mailed out on Friday, April 5th. That's the last day that it can be done by state mandate. So if anybody asks you, it's going to be, as Tony inferred earlier, it's going to be a big discussion this year. Everybody can look for them. They're online already, so we've been getting quite a bit of people to pay already. But the bills actually won't be mailed out until Friday, April the 5th. And they'll get them in their hands a full month before the due date of May the 10th. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, anything else?
Just continuing out at Golden Meadows with trying to find appropriate places for all of our residents out there. And I think we're 11, 10?
And it'll be on by the weekend.
Okay, so, like I say, we're just trying to find appropriate places. Continue to move ahead with that, trying to stay on schedule.
I don't know if Shannon has anything or not.
I'm gonna ask her.
Anything else?
Shannon, would you like to share anything this morning?
You want me to?
It's purposeful. Any other matters to be brought before us this morning? Tony?
Nope.
Billy Murray?
Nope.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
Who? Kathy? Faye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You can stay.